Greetings, fellow Trekkers and Trekkers, and welcome to another edition of my series of videos called Remembering Star Trek. And today, I'm closing on my look at the television shows with Star Trek Enterprise. Now, Star Trek Enterprise lasted only 4 seasons. All the other ones had 7. The original series had 3. The animated series had 2. This one only had 4 seasons, and that was it. And after that, a lot of people thought that it would be the last Star Trek show, but apparently we're getting a brand new one coming out next year. So, I will talk about that show, but I will only talk about it when it is over with. I'm not gonna talk about. Well, I might give my thoughts on season 1, how many of her seasons it has. But as of right now, I only plan to talk more about that show when it's done. So again, that new Star Trek show will be premiering next year. So there you go. Alright, so let's get down to the nitty gritty and talk about Star Trek Enterprise. Now, this show had a pretty decent cast. It had Scott Bakula from Quantum Leap, and who is now the star of NCIS New Orleans. And not that many other actors that I knew. So the only one I really knew right off the top of my head, or the one I recognized right away, was Scott Bakula, because even though I hadn't seen Quantum Leap, I've heard of the show and I knew that he was in it. So there you go. And also, this was the first Star Trek show that actually took place before the events of the original series, and that was great. I loved that. I loved seeing what happened before Kirk and before the original series and before Captain Kirk and everything else like that. That was amazing, and I loved it. So there you go. Alright, so let's talk about my favorite episodes as well as the essential episodes you should definitely watch from Star Trek Enterprise. Starting with Broken Bow. This is the very first episode of the series, and it's actually not that bad. It is a pretty damn good, enjoyable episode. The guy who played Zefram Cochrane in Star Trek First Contact, James Cromwell, he makes an appearance in this episode, and it's actually really good. It's very interesting, exciting, and I have to say the design of the Enterprise NX-01 looks amazing. I love it, and yes, it is CG because again, the show premiered back in 2001, and that was when CGI was all the rage and everything. So there you go. It was still a great, enjoyable first episode. I love it. It's definitely worth your time to check out. Terra Nova. This episode deals with the Enterprise crew coming across this band of human survivors who have lived on this planet for about 70 years or so, and it's kind of interesting to see how they react to the Enterprise crew and the Enterprise crew reacts to them, and it's kind of interesting, really. Yeah, definitely very, very enjoyable episode, and I highly recommend it. The Andorian Incident. Now, we've seen the Andorians before in the original series, but seeing how they are in this show, it's definitely a lot different than how they are in the original series. So if you like the Andorians, then definitely by all means check out this episode. Shockwave. This episode is extremely essential because it introduces crewman Daniels, who is a time traveler, and it's really great. I love this character. It comes from, at some point in the Earth's future, he's a temporal agent, and he's really a great character, and whenever he's in an episode, you know you're in for some very interesting time travel shenanigans, so most definitely check that episode out. Carbon Creek. This episode, it's very interesting because we get to see that there were actually Vulcans on Earth way before the events of First Contact, and it's kind of interesting to see like that. And the actress who plays T'Pol plays, I guess, one of her ancestors or something like that, and it's very, very interesting to see that. And apparently did a great job at hiding their identities, and it's really really great. I think I think the past events of the episode took place in the 1950s, I believe 1950s or 1960s, but something like that. So there you go. But yeah, again, it's a really great episode. Definitely give it a watch. Regeneration. I love this episode. This is my favorite episode out of the entire series, and it deals with these Starfleet officers coming across remains of the Borg and the Borg sphere that was destroyed in Star Trek First Contact when the Enterprise E followed the sphere to the day before First Contact. And it's a really, really great episode. I love it. Again, I'm a huge fan of the Borg. They're my favorite Star Trek race, right alongside the Klingons and the Vulcans. So if you love the Borg, you will love this episode. Definitely give it a watch. You're going to love it. The Expanse. This episode is extremely essential because it basically sets up what's going to happen in the next season with the Enterprise crew going up against the Xindi, which is basically all these different alien races, and basically the Xindi are entirely bent on conquering or destroying Earth, and it's huge, bombastic, great episode. I freaking love it. Definitely give it a watch. The Xindi. This is the first episode where we get to actually see the Xindi and see what they look like, and it's a kick-ass episode. Let me tell you. As someone who really enjoys good storylines in television shows, this episode definitely set up one of the best storylines ever in any of the Star Trek shows. Now I'm saying some of the other ones were bad, like the Dominion War from Deep Space Nine was a great storyline, and it ran on for I think like 2 or 3 seasons at most, and that was kind of interesting, and I loved that. So, yes, the whole thing with the Xindi was a really great storyline that they did in an Enterprise, and it's really, really great. And this episode does a great job at basically laying the groundwork for the rest of the Xindi subplot throughout the season. So definitely watch it. You will love it. So there you go. Twilight. Now, before you say anything, no, this has nothing to do with the movie, okay? Again, this episode is called Twilight. Has nothing to do with the movie, which came out in 2008, so there you go. Yeah, shoot, I can't remember what happened in this episode. But still definitely watch it. Anyway, I think it's another one of those time travel episodes, I think, but, or maybe not, I don't know, just watch it. E Squared. So this episode is kind of interesting because, it deals with the Enterprise crew coming across a different looking version of the Enterprise, but from, I guess, like an alternate future or reality or something like that. And it's very interesting. So again, more time travel shenanigans. There you go. 0 Hour. This episode, I believe this is another Crewman Daniels episode, I believe. And again, whenever he shows up, time travel shenanigans ensue. So, there you go. Stormfront. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Oh wait, I got those two. I got some of these mixed up. Oh, but anyway, Stormfront. It's a very unique episode because apparently somehow the Enterprise crew, or at least some of them, they accidentally get transport or something like that to the World War II era, and they have to find a way to escape. So definitely watch it. It's a very, very good episode. I love it. Babel 1. Really nothing much to say about this episode. It's basically an episode where they go to this station called Babel 1. Again, really not much else going for it, but it's a pretty decent episode, and I highly recommend it. In a Mirror Darkly, we finally, finally get to see the return of the Mirror Universe in Star Trek after only one episode in the original series, after X amount of episodes in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. We get to see it again in this episode, and it's awesome. That's all I'm going to say. It's awesome, so yeah. And last but not least, these are the Voyages. This is the final episode of the show, and it's not that bad. It's really not as bad as people make it out to be. I mean, yes, it does involve some of the TNG characters like Riker, Troy, and I think Brent Spiner just a voice cameo as Data. But other than that, it's really not that bad of an episode. I'm not going to give it away, but still, just definitely watch it. It's a great episode, and again, it's just awesome. So there you go. So that concludes my look at the Star Trek television shows, but that doesn't mean that my Remembering Star Trek videos are done with this one. Because starting next week, I will be looking at the movies. Yes, I will be looking at all the movies from the motion picture through Into Darkness. And then the Tuesday after I've seen Star Trek Beyond, that is when I will talk about that movie. So, there you go. So, yeah, thank you guys so much for continued support. And thank you for watching my videos and subscribing. And don't forget to tune in next week as I will be looking at the movies beginning with Star Trek The Motion Picture, and that will be happening next week. So, again, thank you guys so much for continued support, and until then, until next week, live long and prosper. Bye.